How to get into the NYC Student Film Festival. Hi, I'm Max Cohn. I'm the festival director of the NYC Student Film Festival. Wait, what? That's right, I'm making a video about how to get into the film festival that I run. Why am I making this video? I'm making this video because a lot of filmmakers just blindly submit to our festival, not really knowing what we're about and not really knowing our criteria. So I just wanted to be upfront, be frank with you, just tell you the honest truth about what you can do to get your film accepted into the NYC Student Film Festival. So here we go. Before I start, film evaluation is subjective, and I'm very aware I'm not the authority on anything, but I feel like if you follow these tips, you could have a much better chance of being selected than other submissions. So, number one is be unique. Make your film authentically you. Only you could have made this film. Now, how do you do this? One of the ways to do this is to avoid using overused tropes in student films. If you have any knowledge of student films and the discussion around it, you know that like a character waking up in the morning, getting ready, getting dressed, that's like an overused trope. Avoid that at all costs. Basic stories about like aliens and zombies, I think those are also those are overused tropes in the student films. One-dimensional characters as your main character. There's a short film I like. It's called Every Student Film Ever. Fun fact about that film, I actually also wanted to make a film called Every Student Film Ever, and then they made it. So, stole my idea, which I didn't even put out into the world. They read my mind, but just watch that film. You'll see all the tropes that you should definitely avoid. And it goes beyond overused tropes. It's like if you're making a film about a certain topic, the normal student film thing to do is sort of just to present the topic, maybe give your take on the hot button issue that you're presenting. You're not really presenting a different angle, which is exactly what we're looking for. We're still looking for new angles to already existing issues and topics that we may not have thought of within the scale of the issue. Our first year we accepted a film, a documentary about immigrants who come to this country and they were selling ice pops and they were street vendors. But the thing I loved the most about that film was that it didn't come at it saying this is the issue, here's the answer, because you're not always going to have the answer. This is just who these people are and their struggles and what they want, what they desire, and it was real and emotional, and that's why we chose it. And it won Best Documentary that year. Tip number 2, be as concise as you can. Try not to go over what you need to go over. And a lot of the times, that's a hard judgment call. Your film's at 19 minutes. You love your baby, you think you can't cut any part of it. Oftentimes, you're probably gonna have to cut a bit of your 19-minute film. Sometimes you won't. This year we programmed a 21-minute film, so I know you all are probably yelling at me through your screens, but it's okay because, first of all, that was the only film over, I think, 15 minutes. So, you see, it's not like we can just program every 20-minute film we like. And we did some very good 20-minute films. We just didn't have enough room in the program. We only have a certain amount of time that we need to fit all the films in. So the shorter your film is, the better chance you have of getting into the film festival. That being said, if you make a masterful 20-minute film and every minute is worth it, and every scene and every piece of dialogue and every shot feels like it's necessary, we'll probably value it more than others. But most of the time, we're students, we're still learning. It's totally fine to cut down your film just a bit, and then that gives you, honestly, a better chance of getting into the film festival. Tip number 3, good acting goes a long way. There's this James Cameron clip going around that was all you need to make a film is to pick up a camera and get some of your, siblings and go shoot it. That's all you need to do. Like, you can do that, like, as, like, just to learn, but if you want to get into the NYC Student Film Festival, get some good actors. I know it's hard. I know it's a struggle. Go to your theater, go to your school's, performances, go to underground theater in wherever you live. Use those casting websites. Casting right really makes a difference. There were a couple films this past year that acting was the difference between selection and rejection. So be intentional with your casting and put time and effort into it. For documentaries shouldn't just be profiles. We get a lot of profiles submitted to our festival, and most of the time they're following the person doing whatever they're doing. They are talking about their process, about what they do. And sometimes it's a little interesting, mildly interesting, but generally, if it's just them doing whatever they do and it's not really that unique, or there's no conflict, or there's no, conflict doesn't always have to be external, it could be internal conflict. If there's nothing there, if it's just a profile of someone, we're probably not going to select it. The profiles that we have selected generally have the things I mentioned. Like the person, they either have like a conflict or a story that the person who you're profiling goes through, or the thing that the person is doing is really interesting or connected to something else. Our first year we programmed a film called Mike and Frank, and that was, yes, about a man who owns a wood shop, but it was also about him losing his partner and how those two things are interconnected. So if you're thinking about doing a film that's a profile of someone, think to yourself, is there anything uniquely interesting about this person that is just, people wouldn't understand, or people wouldn't know otherwise, or do they have some sort of conflict, whether it's external or internal, whatever it is. Those will be the things that will make you more likely to get selected to the NYC Student Film Festival. Tip number 4. Make sure your sound is audible. This is another thing that separated some films from selection and rejection. If we can't hear what your characters are saying, we probably won't be able to program it because there's really no point. I know it's hard to get a sound mixer and ADR is super tough, but if you can sort of just find someone to help you out with that, that will go a long, long way. It really, really matters. I'm not saying your audio has to be perfect and you don't need a professional sound mixer. What we do need is to be able to hear what your characters are saying. Otherwise, there really isn't much point in programming the film. So, again, you don't need perfect sound. You may have seen our films this past year. There were a couple films that had minor sound issues. Minor sound issues don't matter to us. So tip number 5 is also have short credits. This isn't like we will select films that have long credits, but we really do want you to have short credits. This is not just for our film festival. This is for pretty much any other film festival that you submit to. You are way more likely to get in if you have very, very quick, short credits. You're probably thinking, how are people going to read all the names? Yeah, I don't know why, but apparently it's the standard for short films to make the credits go so fast you can't even read the names. For a long time I thought this was just like a style thing. Apparently it's like a rule thing, you actually do need to have this. And a lot of the time it cuts into your runtime. I think there was a film this past year that was submitted that was like a minute and a half long, and the credits were another minute. And it was like, you can't quality of the film aside, it's like, if you want to have a shorter runtime, the credits really need to be, either one page of all the names or just quickly name after name, get it out of the way. I'm not going to give you exact times, but for a short film, I don't think your credits should really ever go longer than a minute. Maybe for a 20-minute film you can get away with that, but for most films under 15 minutes, your credits should not be longer than a minute. So let's say you've incorporated all these elements. You have a great story. You have good actors. Maybe you submitted last year and you didn't get in. And you're wondering, why didn't I get in? Or maybe you submit this year and you still don't get in. Why don't I get in? Well, first let me say, there's a million reasons why we can't take films. It's not, sometimes we'll see a great film and we just, sometimes it's too long. Sometimes we have too many narrative films. Sometimes we have too many films about a certain topic. Sometimes it's just chance. So it's not like you make a good film and you're automatically in. Sometimes it's usually the case, but oftentimes if we don't select a film and you made a good film, it's probably like a random reason, like too many projects about this or whatever. So that's one. The second thing you can do is, if you made a good film and everyone says it's great and you have all the things checklisted, and you're still wondering like what else can I do, watch the films that we just programmed over this past year and also last year as well. See what we did. See what kind of films we program. You'll learn a lot by basically watching the films and seeing what they are. I will make sure to get it on the website, at least a couple of the films, to make an archive section so you guys can see what kind of films we select. That's it. I'm recording this video on August 21st. It should be out by the time submissions are open. So good luck, and whether or not you get in, I hope to meet you someday out and see you at the NYC Student Film Festival. So see you then. Bye.